People always come to me and say, I want to start a blog, but I don't have money. Or I want to blog, but I don't have a computer, I only have a phone. Well, if that's you, then in this video, I hope to give you some insight by sharing my experience when I started blogging and hopefully answer these concerns of what you can do as a new blogger. Before we get into it, I want to say thank you to WordPress.com for working together with me on this video, which is exciting for me because not only do I already recommend WordPress.com on my course, The Bold Blogger Academy, but I've also been a long-time user of their website for a good while. And a lot of what I'm sharing is my opinion, and I'm very picky about the products and resources I share with you. And I'd only recommend the ones that I've had the best experience with or ones that are highly rated. So I started the blog because I wanted to express myself online. During this time I was in college taking a lot of science prerequisites and didn't feel like myself because I wasn't being creative. And this was before the days of social media. I loved reading other people's blogs and was inspired to start my own. I went through a lot of different topics like beauty, photography, lifestyle, and just having my own personal online diary. It was kind of scary in the beginning when I did want to start Traveling Petite Girl because this would be the first time I was really gonna put in the effort to share it with the world. And the thought of creating my own blog sounded really exciting, but also overwhelming at the same time because there were so many things to do, like where do I even start? Then I thought, okay, well, I can't have a blog without a website, so let's start there. And then I got overwhelmed again because there were so many options again. And over the course of a few years, I've switched between different blogging options like Xanga to Blogspot to LiveJournal to WordPress.com and Tumblr, which I did use for a good while. And based on my experience of blogging back then and now blogging for 5 years as Traveling Petite Girl, I recommend WordPress.com. And I want to reiterate that I am talking about WordPress.com, not WordPress.org, because there is a difference. So they are similar, but the biggest difference is that WordPress.com is a platform where you create and publish your content and host your website at the same time. So you get a web host provider and a WordPress software in one. So WordPress.org is only the WordPress software where you create and publish your content. So you'd need to find your own web host provider to host your website before you install WordPress to it. I don't recommend this option for absolute beginners, especially if you don't find yourself tech savvy. Which if that's the case for you, then I recommend WordPress.com because your website and blogging platform is created all in one. You don't have to do two steps separately. And here's some other differences between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So for WordPress.com, there is no cost to start. You save hours finding a web host provider because WordPress offers all-in-one hosting and blogging. And because of their ready-made themes on WordPress, there's minimal time needed to customize your blog so that you can launch and publish your content right away, which is really key, and I'll explain that later. And when it comes to the storage, speed, and backup, this actually comes from your web host. So for WordPress.com, you get all of that automatically when you register. And then you can upgrade your account to the Pro plan and get the same flexibility, customization, themes, and plugins as you would with WordPress.org. So as your blog grows, WordPress can grow with you and you don't feel limited because there's a lot of flexibility. For WordPress.org, you do need to find a web host provider first, which also comes with a cost to host your own website, and that cost will depend on your host. You can customize your blog any way you want, and knowing a lot of people's experience, especially for students of the Bold Blogger Academy, this is a double-edged sword. So even though you can customize your website any way you want, this is also going to take up much more time, effort, and money. And because of that, a lot of people get stuck in this step before they even write their first blog post. And for storage speed and backup, because it does depend on your host, you'll have to set these up individually. And with WordPress.org, you're getting open source software with the same features as the Pro plan of WordPress.com, like the flexibility, customizations, themes, and plugins. So at the end of the day, you can actually get the same features of WordPress.org with WordPress.com. So hopefully I've cleared out the biggest differences between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Now let's get more into the side of WordPress.com and why it's a great option for new bloggers like yourself. First of all, it's easy to use, and here's what I mean by that. It's easy to customize your website with your own branding. When I started, I didn't really know the direction I was heading, but it was nice knowing that I had the flexibility to change it when I did. Like, I switch between so many niches. In WordPress.com, you can customize the free themes without ever having to touch code, which is something I don't like doing and even to this day have very little knowledge of. And because of this, you can actually focus on creating content and not on all the behind the scenes techie stuff. It also has a user-friendly interface to create and publish content. The last thing you need is a complicated interface that gets in the way of your writing. And the text editor on WordPress.com is so much more simpler than writing a Word document. And it's straightforward to upload photos, embed YouTube videos, and even Google Maps. You can also blog on the go, so you actually don't need a computer to blog. I've published blog posts from my phone and iPad with the WordPress.com app. So whenever an idea came to me, I didn't have to wait until I was back home to write about it. Overall, there's less obstacles and time between you starting a blog and getting your content out there to the world, which is the #1 priority. So how about SEO? SEO means search engine optimization. It's a process of making your blog understood by search engines so that your blog posts about traveling to Paris will show up in the search results when people type what to do in Paris on search engines. And WordPress.com is very SEO friendly. That said, here are some quick tips to make sure your blog post can reach as many people as possible. Use clear titles with keywords that people would use to search for your blog posts. For example, 10 things to do in Paris instead of my Paris trip. Format your text. Use headlines, bold your text, break down large paragraphs. Make sure it's very readable to your audience, but also readable by Google. Use a keyword-rich URL like myblog.wordpress.com/things to do in Paris instead of myblog.wordpress.com/2022/04/06. Rename the files of the images that you use on your blog post. That way your blog post is also searchable via images, like Eiffel Tower Light Show.jpg instead of photo-1.jpg. Now here are some tips I wish I knew when I first started blogging. Don't worry about designing your website. Writing your content is the priority. WordPress.com has thousands of beautiful themes, so it's really simple to make your blog look really professional and beautiful without any design experience. Don't write content that doesn't serve you. Be authentic. Write about topics that make you light up and write in a way for people to learn from you. Then, make it SEO friendly with the tips that I just mentioned. Don't put too much emphasis on launching your blog. Instead, put emphasis on creating content. I also believe in launching first, then tweaking. And to this day, I still make changes to my blog. It's never a one and done thing because as you grow, your blog grows with you and you're gonna make changes along the way. Don't worry about choosing a niche. Some say it provides you structure, but what that does is actually boxes your creativity and sets limits on when you can and can't talk about. I always tell this to my subscribers. You're a person of multiple passions, and it wouldn't do you justice to only talk about one of those passions. So instead, consider that you are the niche and you can write about anything you want as long as you're interested in it. You can attract people to your blog by being you. You don't need a niche, a beautiful website, or the perfect camera to start. Just start where you are, use what you have, continuously work on your blog and show up as you. It may start off slow, but your blog will grow. I always remind myself success is inevitable. At the end of the day, there is no shortcut to a thriving blog. And for me, my #1 tip is that in order to have a thriving blog, I need to work on myself first. So I should focus on myself, be the best version I can be, and blog about it. And I found that by doing me first, writing interesting and engaging blog posts comes with ease. So I hope that gave you some clarity on WordPress.com and even knowing the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. I know for me, when I started my blog, I wish I didn't spend so much time on designing it and customizing it because I am a huge perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect, and I was stuck on designing my blog for a few months. So that's why I recommend WordPress.com, because you can spend much less time designing your website and put more time into creating your content, writing, and being creative. So if you're interested in using WordPress.com, you can literally create your blog in less than 5 minutes by going to WordPress.com or this link or the link below. So I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is Jojo and I love talking about travel, blogging, and anything that has to do with trying to be the best version I can be. Take care. Bye.